This is 11-4 spheres. Try the warm-up and hit play when you're ready to see the answers. So number 1, the radius is 12.5 centimeters. Number 2, I got circumference is 85 pi inches. Number 3, area is 169 pi feet squared. And number 4, the circumference was 50 pi centimeters. We're going to be talking about a sphere. Hemisphere would be half of a sphere. The great circle is the circle that is the circumference of the hemisphere, as shown right here. That's our great circle. Radius, just like a circle, goes from the center out to the edge. And the center, of course, is in the direct middle. So to find the volume of a sphere, we would use this formula right here, where the volume equals 4/3 pi r cubed. So the radius is utilized in this formula, and it's cubed. Okay, so in example 1a, we have V equals 4/3 pi r cubed. That's the formula. V equals 4/3 pi times the radius would be 12, since the diameter is 24. We cut that in half, and so that's inches cubed. And so our answer is going to be 2,304 pi inches cubed. Okay, and the next one we have the diameter of a sphere with the volume having 36,000 pi centimeters cubed. So this time we know the volume. So we start with our formula, still 4/3 pi r cubed, and we're looking for the diameter. So we're going to plug in our volume, which is 36,000 pi centimeters cubed, which equals 4/3 pi r cubed. If you divide both sides by pi, they just end up canceling each other out, so we don't have to worry too much about that. But we can divide both sides by 4/3, which is really multiplying by 3/4 to both sides. And when we do that, we get 27,000 centimeters cubed equal to r cubed. Then we take the cube root of each of those. Cube root has a little 3 in there. And so then we end up with r equaling 30 centimeters. But we want to know what the diameter is. So the diameter would be twice that. So therefore the diameter is equal to 60 centimeters. So we're really just working backwards, and we plugged into the same formula what we already knew. So the volume of the hemisphere, well, hemisphere is going to be half. So if V equals 4/3 pi r cubed, we're going to take half of that, or we're going to divide it by 2, however you want to think about it. So I just put the 1/2 in the front. Think about it like that too. Okay, so V equals 1/2 times 4/3 pi times the radius, which is 15 meters cubed. Okay, 15, I did that wrong. I want to make sure that the cube goes to the 15. Okay, and then we end up, once we calculate that, well, half of 4/3 is really just those cross simplify, so it's really just 2/3. So once we do that, we get 2,250 pi meters cubed. So anytime you want a hemisphere, instead of 4/3 pi r cubed, it's really just 2/3 pi r cubed. It's half of that. Okay, next question. Sporting Goods store sells exercise balls in 2 sizes, standard 22-inch diameter and jumbo 34-inch diameter. How many times as great is the volume of the jumbo as the volume of the standard? All right, we could do a couple things here. So if we want to know how many times as great is the volume of the jumbo ball as the volume of a standard ball, we can find each one of them. So start by finding the jumbo ball. So V equals 4/3 pi times radius cubed. The diameter is 34, so the radius is going to be 17 inches cubed. When you calculate that, you get 6550.7 pi inches cubed. You could then find the volume of the smaller ball, which has a diameter of 22, so That means it has a radius of 11 inches cubed. And when you calculate that, you get 1774.7 pi inches cubed. And to see the number of times bigger, you would then take 6550.7 pi inches cubed and divide it by 1774.7 pi inches cubed, and you would get that it's about 3.7 times bigger. I think that's the easiest way. Okay, now we have to talk about surface area. So surface area of a sphere has this formula, S equals 4 pi r squared. If you want to think of what surface area is, think of like an orange peel around an orange. It's the same idea. So the surface area of a sphere with a diameter of 76 centimeters. So I plug in all my numbers. The surface area is equal to 5,776 pi centimeters squared. Okay, the volume of a sphere with a surface area of 324 pi inches squared. So we start with our formula. We know the surface area, so I'm going to put that in front. Pi inches squared equals 4 pi r squared. Remember, the pi's cancel when you divide both sides by pi, so I'm really just dividing by 4 on both sides. When I do that, I get 81 inches squared equals r squared, so square root each side, and I know that r is 9 inches. So from there, I can find the volume, which is going to be 4/3 pi times radius cubed, so 9 inches cubed. And calculate that, you get 972 pi inches cubed. Okay, and C, the surface area of a sphere with a great circle that has an area of 49 pi miles squared. So if the area is equal to pi r squared, then the area is equal to 49 pi is equal to pi r squared. The pi's cancel, square root both sides, and we get that r is equal to 7. And then to find the surface area, that's going to equal 4 pi r squared, so 4 pi times 7 squared is 49, and so the surface area is equal to 196 pi miles squared. So remember, to see how some things affecting the volume, you would cube it. So 3/4 to the third power got me 27/64. So the volume would be affected by 27/64 of the original size. Okay, this says to find the surface area and volume of the composite figure. So if we start with the surface area, I guess. So the surface area of a sphere is 4 pi r squared, but we're taking half of that. So divided by 2. Because it's a hemisphere. Plus the surface area of a cylinder is equal to 2 pi r h plus pi r squared. It's a formula. I don't know if you've seen it before or not, but that's just the formula. So let's calculate this. We get 2 pi times, the diameter is 12, so the radius is 6, so times 36. And so this one's 72 pi inches squared. And the next one's going to be 2 times pi times 6 times the height of 9 plus pi times 6 squared. And that will get us 108 pi inches squared plus 36 pi inches squared. And so the total surface area is equal to 216 pi inches squared. And then for the volume, we'll do the volume of the hemisphere, which is going to be, remember, hemisphere is going to be 2/3, 4/3 times a half. So 2/3 pi r cubed. And so that's going to be, the radius is 6, so 2/3 times pi times 6 cubed. That's 144 pi inches cubed. Plus, the volume of the cylinder is going to be capital BH, which is pi r squared h. Pi times 6 squared times the height of 9, and that's 324 pi inches cubed. And so therefore the total is going to be equal to 468 pi inches cubed.